This is Darif Sites. This HTML tutorial is about image sizing. We have an HTML page title called Image Sizing, a section title Fixed Size from Image, two images here in this section. Both the images, their size is determined entirely by the size of the images. There's nothing in the page to alter that size, and the size is fixed. The next section is the same as the one above it. The only difference is that these two images are entirely new versions of the original images, where some image editing software, in this case Windows Paint, is used to resize the images. So again, it's the actual size, but they're smaller versions of the images. This next section, we use attributes in the tag, in the image tag, to change the size of the image. There'll be fixed sizes, and we have 4 different sizes here, and they're proportional, which means the ratio, the aspect ratio of the width and the height is preserved, so there's no distortion. They all look proper, but just different sizes. Again, the sizing, as we'll see, is specified in the actual tag. The next section is similar. The tag specifies the width and the height, but this time it's not done proportionally, it's disproportional, so we see some distortion in the images. The last section, there are 4 images down here, and they use a relative size. It's a percentage of the page size, of the actual window itself. If we reduce the window size and scroll down to where they were, we see that they still take up the same relative percentage of the width of the page here. As the page is made wider, they become larger, smaller, they become smaller. Whereas the other images, their width is unaffected by the size of the page. Let's restore the page to its original full size here. And now we're going to switch over and look at the HTML source code that created this page. Here's the HTML. We're using the doc type for HTML5, some comments. The body tag here has the title as an H2, and it's centered through a text-align style, and the subtitles, the section titles, use an H3. So in our first section, we have our images relative to the location of our page. There's a subfolder called Images where our HTML file is, and it's in the subfolder where these images are, and there's 2 of them, and they're just the name of the image, so the actual size of the image is used. The next section is the same deal, but these are different versions of the image. They have, as part of their file name, small to differentiate them as different versions. They are taken from the original images and then resized and saved with different names. The next section, we have the original image here, but in the image tag, and I suppose we better mention about the image tag, we don't want to take that for granted. The image tag is what displays the image. It's an IMG tag, and it has a closing tag built into the starting tag. There's not 2 separate tags, and it has one attribute that we're using here called source. That's the location of the image file. Back down where we were, there's other attributes that you can have in the tag. Width is one of them. The width here is in pixels, that's the default. And if you just specify the width and not the height, it will proportionally size the image to be the given width and adjust the height to be the correct ratio so that there's no distortion. We've used 50, 100, 150, and 200 for these 4 images. The next section has the same widths, but now we specify different heights, and so it's going to take exactly what's specified here for width and height, and it's up to us to either preserve or not the proportionality. And we chose to show some disproportional stretchings of the images. The last section is down here, and the difference is that for the width, instead of just a number, we put a percent sign at the end, and that indicates that the image will have a width that is a percentage of the window width, the size of the page itself. Let's show again one more time the output. Here again is the output, the original 2 images, the smaller versions of those 2 images, proportional sizing through the width attribute alone without a height attribute, disproportional sizing through the specification of width and height attributes that do not preserve proportionality in all cases, and finally images that use a relative percentage of a page size.